Louisiana, 1847. The air was thick with heat and hypocrisy. Belle Rive Plantation stood like a monument to wealth, white columns, magnolia trees, and the illusion of grace. But behind its charm hid something monstrous. Colonel William Duvall, the master of Belle Rive, was known as a visionary of his time. Cotton tycoon, banker, a man who dined with governors and preached about progress. Yet at night, progress meant something else. He called it the project of perfection. In his mind, the white race was God's masterpiece, and every drop of black blood was a defect to be controlled, studied, or improved. He forced his sons, Thomas and Edward, to breed with chosen slave women, young, healthy, obedient. He kept detailed records, dates, names, offspring results. The children born from these unions were not acknowledged. They were hidden in the quarters behind the cotton fields, called the shadow children. When visitors asked about them, Duvall smiled and said, "They're the children of our workers." But in reality, half of Belle Rive's slaves shared the same eyes, the same jawline, as the Duvall family itself. And no one dared speak of it, until one woman did. Her name was Aline, a young slave who had given birth to twins, William's grandsons by blood. When she tried to escape with them, she was caught and whipped. But before she died, she cursed the plantation. "Your name will live, but your blood will betray you." The curse became a legend in the South. Then the Civil War came. Belle Rive burned, the Duvall family fled north, and for a century their secret slept beneath the ashes. Or so they thought. New Orleans, 2022. Dr. Caroline Duvall, a genetic anthropologist, agreed to take part in a public DNA ancestry project, a harmless online campaign sponsored by a global tech company. She thought it would be fun, until the results arrived. At first, the numbers made no sense. 38% West African ancestry. Impossible. The Duvalls traced their lineage directly to France. She repeated the test. Same result. Then she tested her father. The same. Her family had been Louisiana aristocracy for generations. Plantation owners, senators, philanthropists. But now, the data said, their ancestors had been both masters and slaves. Caroline began digging. She found fragments of letters in the attic of her late grandmother's house, sealed in an old cigar box. Among them, a leather-bound ledger labeled Records of the Belle Rive Breeding Program, 1847-1862. Inside were names, mostly of women. Beside them, initials of the pairing, A, approved, B, offspring viable. Each entry signed by Colonel William Duvall. Caroline froze. The ledger wasn't a myth, it was science, twisted science. Her great-great-grandfather had run a human breeding program, using his own sons. She called a journalist friend, Marcus LeBlanc, who specialized in historical investigations. He warned her, "Caroline, if you make this public, you'll destroy your family. Your father's on the board of the Heritage Foundation. Your uncle's running for governor." But she couldn't ignore it. When the story broke, it exploded like gunpowder. Headlines: Duvall dynasty built on slave breeding experiment. DNA test uncovers hidden African lineage in prominent Louisiana family. Racists condemned her. Activists praised her. Politicians distanced themselves. And soon, the lawsuits began. Dozens of black families across Louisiana claimed descent from the Duvalls, shadow children. They demanded reparations, property rights, acknowledgement, and one name kept appearing in those claims: Aline. Courtroom, Baton Rouge, 2023. The Duvall family sat behind their lawyers, polished, silent, furious. Across from them sat dozens of descendants of Belle Rive's slaves, carrying photographs, family Bibles, and one shared truth written in their DNA. Caroline was called to testify. She looked across the room, into the eyes of people who shared her ancestors' blood. Same cheekbones, same dark green eyes. The curse had come true. The blood had betrayed them. Marcus published a final article, The Duvall Bloodline, When History Refuses to Stay Buried. It went viral. Universities launched new research on genetic slavery patterns. Documentaries followed. But what shook the world wasn't the science. It was the mirror it held up to America itself. The Duvall scandal became a symbol of how the past still breathes through every generation. When the judge finally spoke, the courtroom fell silent. This case isn't about ownership. It's about truth. The truth that binds us all by blood. The Duvall estate was ordered to fund a historical reparations foundation to preserve the records and descendants' rights to Belle Rive's land. A year later, Caroline returned to the ruins of the plantation. She stood among the moss-covered stones where her ancestors once ruled and whispered, "I set you free, Aline." The wind stirred through the trees like a sigh, or perhaps like a thank you. And somewhere between the cotton fields and the graves, the past finally let go.